Right, okay. So, basic soldering setup. Heat-proof mat. Random piece of orange tape which can go over there. Well, a soldering iron with 3 lights on the front of it. Whoa, just cheapo one from Maplins. I use lead-free solder. I personally don't have much issue with like this rapid stuff, so don't mind using it. I'm using 0.7. I have some 1.2 somewhere, but I have no idea where it is, and it's so late at night I can't be bothered to look for it. So I'm going to be using the 0.7. We have over here, because I forgot to bring them over, the actual speed controller and the connectors. Got the block to put the connectors in. So first ones we'll do, I believe, will be on the motor. I'll just get the snips. I'm not sure how well you can hear me. I'm getting the snips. That's the big snips. I can't see the small ones. Excellent. You can tell I didn't plan this. I just wandered in the wrong drawer. That's the problem. Okay. Snips. So we'll just snip all these off. I'd probably solder them on, to be honest, if I had the programming card, so I could just reverse the direction. But I don't, and with HobbyKing expensive postage in the UK, I'm not just sending for that. But it will probably be added to the next that I do. So there are the connectors removed. Using the highly coveted technique of using your teeth to de-shroud, or whatever you want to call it, the end of your wires. And this is by no means a soldering tutorial. My first proper job, funny enough, was soldering circuit boards for like security stuff. So story time. So you know when you're going through, say, an emergency door, or you probably don't do it because of what I'm about to say. Basically, if you go out the door and shut it within a minute, the alarm won't go off. But if you shut it and leave it open for over a minute, then what it will do is it will set the fire alarm off, because they think that people are escaping from a fire. So, Jesus Christ, this has got hot. Now, the little timing mechanism might actually be from the company I used to work at. Just a small company. I essentially used to solder on their dining room table, and the dining room was part of the kitchen. So that's how sort of small it was. Other than the couple who ran it, there was sort of like 3 others. And I was basically required, like asked to work when required. And after a while, after about 8 months of doing it, they just, I presume they didn't require me because they never asked me to do it. And that was it for a while. And then I did some other, and then sort of did nothing for a while, and now I work where I currently work. So that's my jobness in a nutshell. And I'm kind of annoyed that already this is starting to run out of battery. Now, to be fair, I did record all of yesterday as well, so the battery is just still doing fine on this. I should probably go on Amazon and try and order some more of these. Now I'm using this camera a lot more. There's a Nikon D3300 if anyone's interested. I bought it for going to the Joe Knoll show, as well as taking some product photographs for someone I was helping with. Decided to sort of, any old excuse I suppose, for something nice. Okay, so we'll bring the wooden block in. I'm not sure how well things are focused. It looks like it's about perfect. Go on me. I think this is the first time I'm using the Banggood connectors as well. We'll see how they go. Come on, you bar stool. I keep having to double check to make sure. I'm petrified of the microphone running out of battery. And it only has a 10-minute recording on it, so things are fun. So, how was your day? I'm not really sure what's going to happen with these. I'm not sure if I'm going to sort of, Jesus Christ. I'm not sure if in the future these are just going to be fast forwarded with some sort of music in the background. Try not to fuck this up. I've already fucked it up. See, this is what happens when you do stuff on video. You immediately fuck it up. Just to make you aware why I'm always a little bit jumpy around these things. As I am wearing like tracksuit bottoms, because they're nice and comfy and I'm at home. And the issue with tracksuit bottoms is they're plastic. So I'm always a bit skittery because they will melt straight through if they're hot and burn your leg or worse. At least I'm not sat down with this. So it's not going to like run and I've got to try and get out of a seat to get away from it, but still, not good. I should really be using thicker solder, because he sort of very quickly descends towards it, because you have to put more length of it in to fill it up, like so. And of course, because these are just regular connectors, I don't have to try and remember to put heat shrink on before soldering, which is nice. For that to go off. That hasn't worked. I'm a lot better now because the amount of time I spent doing it at soldering circuit boards. This stuff is still not my cup of tea. Because, I mean, while I've been doing this malarkey a long time, you've got to remember that I started this off at a very young age. So a lot of stuff like this would have been done by Dad. Although, when I started, brushless wasn't a thing. In fact, I had one of the only planes up there. It was brushed. It was a Ripmax Exclaim. My second plane. And because it was brushed, it was quite slow and steady, and a bit better than my Watt 4 that was quite quick and agile at the time. Still have it, never crashed it. The Watt 4, not the Exclaim. The Exclaim died due to interference because it was before the days of 2.4 by about a year. As soon as I got 2.4, I bought another one, and that was the first plane that ever went on 2.4. The first plane on 2.4 Futaba at our club, I believe. Because I had it before Dad, because I was the one that was interested in electric planes. He wasn't 100% sold on it yet. He is now. For us now, it's petrol or electric or GTFO. So they're going on okay. I mean, they're not brilliant, but like what I'm doing is just grabbing and pulling, and if they don't come off, then that's good enough for me. We'll stick some heat shrink on later, and then just blast it with a lighter. But for now, we're doing this. As I say, in the future, whether I will keep talking over these, I'm not sure, or whether it'll be just like a, here is a time lapse of me doing this shit. Whoop. And one last one. Or at least for the motor it is. That one I pulled a little bit too much off, but never mind. Go on, soliding up. Soliding. Words! I say them sometimes. The other times it's just babbling idiot. And that one's not coming off either. So that's the motor. I'll chuck that out of the way so I don't burn myself or anything deaf like that. Speed controller is next. But I'm actually going to stop the recording and start it again. Or in fact, you know what? What I'm going to do, I'm going to stick female on these and a male and female on the end of these. I'll be back with you because there's really not much point me showing this, and I can listen to musical stuff while I'm not recording. So anyway, thank you. We'll see what happens in the next clip. Okay, so I have got ends put on where required, as well as on here. They're all heat shrink and cut correctly. You can see the little bits of heat shrink on the scalpel. You almost watched me remove some fucking fingers then. So these do, actually I should make sure that these do indeed connect together properly. Yep, and they're all nice and snug but not too snug, which is excellent. Ta-da! A little bit of gold showing on one of them, but if there's no gold showing on the rest of them, we're fine. So here is the fuselage. You will have noticed I have removed the flight controller for two reasons. One, you can't have it off. I don't like flight controllers where you can't have them off. I'd rather just have them not there at all. And it's only a 4-channel receiver, so I'd have to like get rid of rudder or something instead and have a mixer. And I can't be bothered with all that jazz. So we'll do that at a later date. So what I need is a screwdriver. Ta-da! The motor. Just disconnect that speed controller for now. Pull from the plugs, not the wire. And then... so it goes on the floor. That's where it goes. So the wires on the motor go to the top of this exit. There's the hole for the screw. There's actually a dedicated hole. Hard to show where it is. There's a dedicated hole there. I am speaking to you with the motor in my mouth. There you are. So I'm just going to push each of these through, because it's only sort of big enough for one of these 3.5s. So we'll push each of these through. That last one needed a little bit of gentle persuasion. Okay, at the moment they're sort of rattling around the V-tail control rods, but I'm not too worried because it's just the connectors that's too big, not the wire of course. So once we pull the connectors out of the way, come on you bar stool. I'm just going to pull on those to bring them out. I know none of this is happening on camera, but it's a tricky fucking thing to do, that's why. So to sort of show what's happening, I'm just pulling the wires so I can at least get the motor screwed in. We can then mess around with what wires after that. So as you can see, wires go to the top. Just going to give it a pull. That red wire isn't brilliant. I'll bend that over a bit more. Make sure that's shoved in as far as possible. Something like that, hopefully. We'll see what happens. The wires are in the way of the hole at the moment. Let me just swap them to the side. With a little bit of the old brute force. I'm actually going to... This screw looks like it was glued in slightly the first time it went in. It sort of cracked getting it out. You know, sort of clicking and cracking like it was releasing something. And just to double check, that has not hit any of the wires. No, so I'm just going to tangle that way down. It's not too critical because it's pushing backwards. You know, it's not like it's going that way and it's going to pull out. So that's fine. We can then put the wires further down this V-tail back passage. In fact, I might even be better getting these long nose doodahs down there just to assist. Okay, so just to show you what was happening during that, I managed to pull the wires out through this front section, just sort of pulling them tight so they're out of the way. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to have them over the top with this. I'm not sure how they originally went, that must have been the way they went. And then go and drop down through this hole there. And I can have the speed controller under this door here. Out of the way. Just popping them through. Must remember to show camera as much as possible. Right, so they run down there, they're not going to go caught. And then bottom on the bottom, that is the microphone I picked up, so sorry for all of that noise you just heard. It was not actually the speed controller, which is what I wanted to pick up. So let's plug this in any old way for now. You can change these through the easy access hatch in the bottom. And that can go through that hole there, because that needs to go to where our receiver is going to be, which is going to be in this front section. That's what I have decided so far. Come on, up you get, you little bastard. Okay, that's that in. Sorry for whacking the camera. And I can flick through the power cables into the front, ready for the battery. And lastly, just slap that on the top. And that's all sorted. So, that's done. All the cables are there ready for the receiver. So this receiver, grab it from the bottom of this pile. Antenna, receiver. Alright, so there's the receiver, and I could do a screen recording on how to do this. In fact, I might do actually, just to make it a little bit easier. But yeah, I now get to program the receiver. Bear with me.